11. So Isaiah 11:1 we've seen. Isaiah 53 verse 2. And I want to show you how this relates to Jesus, okay? Isaiah 53 verse 2. 53. Is that the right verse? Oh yeah, this is just proving that it was Jesus. Isaiah 53:1. Who has believed our message, and to whom shall the arm of the Lord be revealed? He grew up before him like a tender shoot, like a root out of dry ground. He had no majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should despise him. And so on, he was a man and foretells his death. Okay, Zechariah 6 verse 12. This is also prophesying Jesus. Zechariah 6 verse 12. Find Malachi and go back a book. Zechariah 6 verse 12 says, "Tell him this is what the Lord Almighty says. Here is the man whose name is Branch, and he will branch out from his place and build the temple of the Lord. It is he who built the temple of the Lord, and he will be clothed with majesty and sit and rule on his throne, and he will be a priest on his throne, and there will be harmony between the two." So all of that is foretelling and prophesying Jesus. So Isaiah 53:2, Zechariah 6 verse 2. Now, let me show you what happened to Jesus, okay? So we've got those verses, we've got the rainbow and the menorah, we've got the sevenfold Spirit of the Lord. Matthew 3:13 to 17 is the baptism of Jesus. Matthew 3:13 to 17 is Jesus' baptism. And it says, "Then Jesus came from Galilee to the Jordan to be baptized by John. But John tried to deter him, saying, 'I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me?' Jesus replied, 'Let it be so now. It is proper for us to do this to fulfill all righteousness.' Then John consented. As Jesus was baptized, he went out of the water. At that moment, heaven was opened, and he saw the Spirit of God." Please note, it is the Spirit of God, "descending like a dove and lightning on him. And a voice from heaven said, 'This is my Son.'" In the literal translation, it would read, "This is my Son, the beloved, in whom I am pleased to dwell," or tabernacle. Very, very different than holy. Now we've got into this idea, and it's partial truth, okay? That when Jesus, he was baptized with the Holy Spirit, okay? The same Spirit that has gifts and fruits attached to it, okay? That Paul talks about. The gift of, okay? That's what we have been living in the fullness of, the gift of the Spirit. To some is given prophecy, to some is given knowledge, tongues and interpretation of tongues, and all of those gifts, okay? Alongside the fruit. If you want the fruit, if you want the gifts to function better, come into the fullness of the fruit. If you don't have love as the first of the fruits, there for a reason, because love, if we don't move in the gifts without love, Paul says we're a clanging cymbal. We will sacrifice the receiver for our gift, unless you've got love for the person who's receiving it. I've been appalled by what I've heard people say. If you come here, I mean, how about this for one? If you come out right now for prayer, and this is not, and you do not have this symptom, you will receive it if I pray for you, because you're not acting in obedience. I was appalled. I mean, you were with me, weren't you? It's just that I mean, you saw people stop halfway down the aisle. Now in doubt, do I really have it or don't I? Because I don't want to go out there and end up with it if I haven't got it. It's just a mess. There was no love for the people in that. It was just where they were coming from. And so Jesus goes into the water, and the Spirit of God descends onto him, and he says, this is my Son, the Beloved, in whom I am pleased to dwell or tabernacle. It wasn't a visitation. It came and it dwelt, overshadowed him, and dwelt on him. And from that place of being endued with the Spirit of God, the sevenfold Spirit of God, descending on him and abiding in him, he went and did for 3.5 years signs and wonders and miracles and knowledge and insight and everything that no one has really functioned in the fullness of that power since the days of Acts. This is where people say the baptism in the Spirit was, thank you, that the baptism in the Spirit was only for the days of the apostles. Can you go back up? Can you take it down a second? Because they're all looking at that, not listening to me. I'm trying to build, don't worry, we're going to bring it back, guys. Don't be Singaporean, just rest. You're not going to miss out, alright? There we go, that'll do. I'll bring it back for you, I promise. Okay. I want to show you this working, okay? Because this is the completeness of the revelation that's going to be released to us in this day. We've been functioning for 124 years, if you like, out of the gift of rather than the spirit of the gift. It's radically different. Jesus goes into the water. He's baptized. The Spirit of God, the sevenfold Spirit of the Lord, descends onto him and abides, tabernacles inside him. He starts his ministry, does incredible miracles, signs and wonders until he reaches the cross. Matthew 27 verse 50. Then Jesus cried out in a loud voice and gave up his spirit. It's dwelt in him. You cannot crucify the Spirit. You need to hear me. You cannot crucify the Spirit. When you die here, you're alive in heaven. Why? Because you can't crucify the Spirit. The body, yes. The Spirit, no. That's why it's for eternity. We've only really got one decision. Whilst everybody only has one decision whilst on the face of the earth. I know it gets really complicated, but it's really simple. It's only one decision. Heaven or hell. That's the only decision. For eternity, as somebody once put it, do you want smoking or non-smoking? Heaven or hell? You know? It's like, where do you want to go? That's the only thing we have to settle on the face of the earth. If we say heaven, we cross from law and sin and everything through the blood into this place of righteousness. And we've got access to the Father. And the rest will go into eternal torment of the very things they coveted or the very sins that beset them whilst on the earth forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Whilst we worship, celebrate, where there's no darkness, just light, and all of this. So you can't kill the Spirit. So he gives up his spirit back to the Father. 49 days later, you have Acts chapter 2. Acts 2, 1 to 14, 1 to 4. When the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place.